Spring is in the air. Week 1 is already underway, and it is time for a wonderful edition of Salty Saturday. No longer in the afternoons, as you see on the screen in front of you. It is now Salty Saturday, back in the evenings, where it should be. Let's get ready to roll. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you and everyone else. My name is Brasky, joined by the one and only Force of Will next to me right now. We have a couple of fantastic matchups between two specific teams right now, that being the Thermic Whims and the Really Nice Guys. Force of Will, give us the rundown of what we're going to see here tonight.
Sure, absolutely. So, in our first match this evening, we are going to have the 4-seed match for this series, Risen of Thermic Whims facing off against Josh Sampson of the Really Nice Guys. Followed by, we're going to have the 5 seeds playing immediately after that. Jack Sarks from Thermic Whims, which I'm still in amazement on how he got on Thermic Whims. I don't know how it happened, but he's there.
Everybody pulls off a really good free agent move every so often. Jack Sox just has a really good agent. His representation is top notch, and he ends up getting signed to Thermic Whims. And you know what? Now's the time. He's got to live up to the hype.
He does. He's going to be facing off against Crackshot of Really Nice Guys. So kind of give you just a little bit of where we are right now. in this matchup. Really Nice Guys currently leads Thermic Wims 6-5 with 3 games remaining, and we're going to be settling 2 of those games tonight. If RNG wins both these matches tonight, they will get 8 additional points, which will put them at 12 points. And I do not believe there's any circumstances to where they can, where Thermic Wims can catch them from that point. But if Thermic Wims takes one of these games tonight, it will lead to the 5th game having a lot of importance. So, so we'll start off talking a little bit, I guess, about Risen and Thermic Wims, Risen and Josh Sampson. Do you want to tell us a little bit about these two players?
With Risen and Josh Sampson, really nice guys. They currently lead, of course, 6-5, 3 games remaining, as Will just said. Josh Sampson, 37-36 in his THL career in the Ragnaros League, while Risen is going to be 11-10. So both of them just right on that 500 mark, kind of 50-50, which tells me that this is also going to be a pretty evenly matched game. And they're both, of course, the 4 seeds for their respective teams. And it's going to be really interesting to see how we start to see the first couple weeks are sometimes the most entertaining in Ragnaros League and in all of the leagues in THL, because you really see maybe a couple classes, couple deck decisions kind of off the cuff. It is still kind of relatively fresh in the Witchwood meta, so I'm interested to see what's going on with all of that stuff. And speaking of both leagues in THL, we can give you guys a quick update of what's happening around in the league. In the Ragnaros League, Teams Energy has started off Season 9 with a nice win against Collective Mayhem with a score of 13-6. They have 1 game remaining on that. Also in the Ragnaros League, Team Mox and Dad Legend are currently tied 11-11 with 1 match remaining. In the Sylvanas League, Dad Legend is currently leading the Big Deck Bandits 11-9 with 1 game remaining, while also in the Sylvanas League, 65,340,285 Boars have the lead over Team Next Level 12-6 with 1 game remaining. And congratulations to Andy Rogers and Ridiculous Hat. If you haven't found out yet by checking the blog at teamhearthleague.com, Andy Rogers and Ridiculous Hat have been inducted into the Ragnaros League Hall of Fame. So we had, I think, the initial 10 from last season, and now we have 2 more. Will, what can you comment on about Andy Rogers and Ridiculous Hat getting the nod into the Hall for Ragnaros League?
I would say I think they're both very deserving of these. Andy Rogers, from what I read on the blog article, he has like an insane win rate. He's been on at least 1, maybe 2 championship teams throughout his career. So he is a really great player. I'm glad to see him get in as a player. Ridiculous Hat, of course, he's been president for as long as I've been here for Team Hearth League, and he's been behind the scenes. He's done a lot of things, so I'm glad to see his efforts put in as a contributor has been really, really great to see, and I'm glad that he is making the Hall of Fame because of that.
Absolutely. And, it's great to see both of those players enshrined, as you will, in the Great Hall, both for very different reasons, but both for very legitimate reasons as well. And we have a reason to play some wondrous Hearthstone between the Thermic Wims, really nice guys. We have Risen versus Josh Sampson. So you look at the classes below. Risen bringing the Druid, Paladin, Rogue, Warlock. Josh Sampson bringing the Druid, Priest, Rogue, Warlock. The bans are in, and it looks like Risen has his Rogue banned, and it looks like Josh Sampson will have his Priest banned. So we see Risen banning Josh Sampson's Priest, and then we see the Rogue banned for Risen. That's going to be a pretty interesting lineup. When you see Rogue banned, that tells me you're bringing control focus lineup, and you do not want to see the quest. And when I see Priest banned, not necessarily sure what I see from that end. The fact that there are many control classes out there. What's your opinion of seeing a Priest ban on that side?
I'll be honest, I am very shocked to see a Priest ban, because if you think that is a control priest with the Double Mind Blast, sort of the popular flavor of the month of priest right now, Warlock seems to be much more of a controlling deck than priest is. So if your focus is to, you bring, say, even Paladin or Murloc Paladin, and you bring Odd Rogue, which is the most aggressive of the rogues, I don't know why you're not banning Warlock, because Warlock against Paladin is almost unwinnable, in my opinion. Rogue is about as rough. So I'm really surprised to see him ban the Priest over the other part. So yeah, it's really unusual to see that.
I agree, and especially with what I've been seeing in the European playoffs that have been going on this weekend, we've seen a lot of people bring Control Priest, and Control Priest really not doing as well as people thought it would be. It kind of had a really slow going. So the ban on that side, I'm going to be interested to see the decks that Risen is bringing at that point. We see Druid, we see Paladin, we see Warlock. Something tells me this might be a full aggro lineup. We think Control with Warlock, we think Spiteful with Druid, but there's been some token versions of Druid out there. There's been plenty of Zoo that can kind of sneak its way around as well. So I'll be interested to see where this is going to go.
I would like to see a token. I would like to. I'm hoping we see some Zoo. It's like that would be nice to see some Zoo this evening. So
I thought about it as well. I haven't played my match yet. My match is tomorrow, and I've been playing with testing a lot of different deck theories, a lot of different styles, mostly losing and then losing some more and losing again. So it's going to be interesting. If you were coming into this Force, with the way that you planned out your week in Ragnaros, did you try for a well-balanced lineup, something that's kind of like a mid-range with control with aggro? Did you go for an all-control lineup? Do you think aggro is the way to go?
Well, since I've already played my Rag League match, I can go ahead and divulge everything, I guess. I brought Druid, Mage, Rogue, Warlock. I did not bring a Paladin. One, because I knew hopefully that meant that the Warlock would get targeted. And then two, it was definitely, I would ban the Paladin. I was trying to aim for the slower mid-rangey decks. So I brought things like Quest Rogue, Tempo Mage, Spiteful Druid, Cube Lock, things like that. So
these players are getting ready to roll right now. We are going to jump in as well, and we're going to find out what's going to happen right away as we jump into game number 1.
Yep. So are we going to have Josh, or are we going to have Risen on the bottom?
Josh will be on the bottom of your screen. Risen will be at the top of your screen as soon as I get his decks wound up as well. As you can see, Risen already 79 Legend, which is very impressive as well.
Oh, yeah. This is day 5. It's like... I mean, I know, yes, with the ranked floors, it may not be as difficult to hit that high a legend as it once was, but still, 5 days into it with all the other legend players, that's just insane.
Absolutely. I mean, it's still 5 days to get to legend. The level of competition from rank 5 now on up is always going to be pretty eventful indeed. So we have a Warlock Mirror starting things up right here. I see a Faceless Manipulator in the hand of Josh Sampson, leading me to believe he's on the cube style of things. I see a Mountain Giant in Risen's hand, which leads me to believe this could be a cube mirror, though I do see occasionally some Mountain Giants in the straight-up control build as well.
Yeah, and actually, I think, again, watching sort of the European playoffs this morning, there was somebody who was running a control lock with the ability, with the Mountain Giants in there, so I would not be shocked to see that. Pretty standard openings right now for both players of tap, maybe draw it through down a Cobalt Librarian, but for the most part, this is just set up for further down in the game at this point.
Doomguard in hand for Josh Sampson. He's also got the Carnivorous Cube. All that's missing is the Skull of Minari. Meanwhile, on Risen's side of things, he's going to have the ability to drop down that Mountain Giant here pretty soon. He smartly went with the tap as opposed to going with dropping down that Kobold Librarian. A lot of people think about just dropping that Kobold Librarian down just willy-nilly. Drop it down on 2, 3, whenever you want to. The smart move to play, especially in the mirror, is to kind of wait until you can boost your Spellstone, then drop the Librarian and give yourself that chance for that good single target removal.
Absolutely. No, that's definitely the route to go. Now, Risen's actually in a very awkward circumstance right now. He is going to toss the Cobalt Librarian out here, but this is more just to continue drawing, but he cannot tap. If he taps, he'll overdraw and his next land. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him pass turn here. Yeah, or he could coin something out too.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about playing on the coin. It depends on how much you value the coin. You could, tap again, throw out the coin, toss it away, say, I don't need it right now if I'm going to drop down that Mountain Giant. But he decides to hold on to it just because he feels like there might be a possibility of doing something like a turn 8 Void Lord. Because we all know turn 8, really the weak turn for most Warlocks. Even the control ones, they have Twisting Nether, but turn 8 always been rather weak for the way that this thing is going to go. So there we go. We see the 3-mana Mountain Giant come down. The pressure is now on Josh Sampson. Doomsayer, a nice card to pick up right here. He's going to have a few options here if he wants to kind of avoid and skirt around this Mountain Giant.
Yeah, he is. He's like, I'm trying to think of, okay, this is he's going to do the Possessed Lackey. I'm assuming he thinks that there's no silence in hand with them right now, and he would be correct on that. So Risen, it has I'm trying to see, is he actually holding a Faceless? No. So he cannot duplicate yet. Now, he does have the Dark Pack. He could Possess Lackey, Dark Pack, with the coin this turn if he would like.
Indeed, and that could be fairly strong, seeing that his opponent didn't have any really strong single target removal. If he gets a Void Lord down, protecting that 8/8, things are going to be pretty interesting real quick. Meanwhile, Josh Samson does have the resource that is the Faceless Manipulator, so he will have a chance to kind of copy up whatever comes down from that point. Turn 6, no Dark Pact in hand for Josh Samson, so that Carnivorous Cube still waiting for its moment to come out right here. Meanwhile, exactly what Will talked about. Here comes the coin, Dark Pact. There's one Doomguard in hand, one Void Lord, so 50-50. Let's see what comes down here. It is a Doomguard, and now the pressure is on down to 11.
Yep. Yeah, it's like lethal is showing for Josh now unless he can get something down. Now, the good news for him, he's holding one of the Doomguards, so he has right now a 2-to-1 chance of getting a Void Lord, which he desperately needs at this point.
So there comes the spot down. Oh, the other Doomguard comes down. He can play this a little bit defensively. He has the ability to copy it up if he wants to, but there's going to be a lot of damage staring down Risen's side of things. If he doesn't clear up this 8/8, Risen has lethal with the Hellfire and 8 damage to face soon after that.
He does. I'm trying to see what he could potentially do here. Is like.
Now, he does have the ability to use a Spell Stone here. If he wanted to, he could go Librarian into the 5/5 and then Spell Stone it to gain up some life a little bit, just keep him out of range. It almost would behoove him to go Spell Stone out and then put down some type of Doomsayer and kind of delay the game a little bit.
I would actually like to see him, if he's going to use the Spell Stone, I will do it on the Mountain Giant and toss the Doomguard in there, so that way only 5 is showing. And that's the route that Josh is looking like he's going to go here. Is to get that Mountain Giant off the field.
And there's the Doomsayer. So now, the threat of the board clear is now active. There's a few ways. Josh Samson's certainly on the back foot here right now. Mm-hmm. But Risen, on his side of things, he's got the Spirit Singer Umbra in there. Does he have a direct answer for this? He does with the Hellfire with the Doomguard. It's going to kill off his own Doomguard. Not necessarily the best answers in hand for him right now.
I don't. That seems like a terrible option at this point in time.
At this point, it might just behoove you to drop down that second Cabal Lackey, and you're guaranteed to get a minion out of it right here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I like that play. I think it's just drop it. You're going to lose it anyway, but you will get something out of it at least. Maintaining
board presence, very important for Resin right now. He wants to be the aggressor at this point. He wants to be putting pressure on, even if that pressure is a big, low attack taunt minion. It's still pressure nonetheless, and it makes Josh Samson force him to use his Faceless Manipulator, not on a cube, but just on another taunt minion. It's probably the lowest value you're going to get out of a Faceless Manipulator in the mirror match.
I think you should look and see if there's any. No, I do like the play. I think this is easily a Faceless Manipulator turn here, and because again, if he doesn't, there's potential for him to just drop Doomguard next turn with. Actually, oh wow, Risen picked up a nice one there, Prince Taldaram.
Absolutely, the 3 mana minion that can make a 3/3 copy of anything that it wants to. It has the ability to make more copies of Void Lords. You probably want to, find a way to copy cubes, find a really good swing turn with some Doomguards. That's what you really want to see with it. But in the meantime, you're still putting on the pressure of your opponent. And you've noticed at this point, no Dark Pacts and so forth. I think Risen can make that read because he has not seen a lot of healing come out for his opponent. So he knows that if he can find a way to consistently put on this pressure, he'll be sitting pretty.
He will be, yeah. It's like he just needs to get past this. Unfortunately, with the Void Lord on the other side, he can't push anything at this moment. Okay, he's just going to leave everything up here. Well, Josh actually gets a little bit of pressure now. He can drop this Mountain Giant if he would like.
Mountain Giant's going to be an 8/8. Interesting turn from Risen right there. Holding back on 5 mana, not developing anything else besides that 3/9. He's kind of just biding his time, waiting for his turn to play something. Now, the all-important turn number 8 coming for Risen right here. We saw Mountain Giant come down, float 4 mana. Nothing else he kind of wanted to do there. Both of them just trying to build up boards at this point to get through their taunts, or is there a play here beyond just putting the pressure on?
I would say the one play that I can see here, and I think this works. Spirit Singer Umbra, and then you can Taldaram copying either cube, and I think since it's a death. Well, no, actually, no, it's a battle cry, so I don't think that's going to work. I was thinking it might trigger a Spirit Singer Umbra to copy down what you have here. But it looks like he's going to toss down the Spirit Singer Umbra with the anticipation to cast the Void Lord the next turn. which I think seems reasonable.
And you got to think that you have a decent chance to let this thing live. You've seen one Spellstone come down already. It's going to take some finagling of your opponent, maybe some awkward turns to deal with this Umbra, but you have to find a way to deal with it, because if you leave Umbra up for one turn, it can mean bad news for you real quick.
And unfortunately for Risen, he did have to toss out the Mortal Coil to prevent overdrawing, it looks like.
So look at this. A couple of plays here with some Hellfire Defile shenanigans would be a really good play for Josh Samson to find a way to deal with this Spirit Singer Umbra. He can even actually just drop down a Mountain Giant and then throw his Void Lord in. That seems like what he's going to do right here.
Yeah, this is strong. It's like, now it's turned a little bit. Now lethal is showing on Risen's side of the board.
Skull of Inari in the hand right now for Risen, and of course there's the first Hellfire. And then Doomguard dropped right on top of it, is going to be lethal, and Risen is going to take game number 1.
Wow, nice. Very nice pickup. That was I missed the lethal on that one, but it's like, nice pickup there by Risen. So Risen will take game number 1 here against Josh Samson.
You could tell right away, though. I mean, he almost set that up a turn or two ahead. You could see how fast he acted on that play. He knew that if he could just get a row of Void Walkers up there, he could Hellfire him out of the way and drop down 5 damage for lethal.
Yep, that was perfect. Absolutely perfect from Risen there. So that means Risen is currently up 1-0, and his Warlock is done. So that means he is left with the Paladin and Druid.
That's interesting. This could go a lot of different ways. We could see the odd Paladin, the even Paladin. We've even seen some people bring, God forbid, Control Paladin. I don't know why you would against your opponent's lineup. Yeah. And then on the Druid side of things, most people think it's going to be the Spiteful variation, but there is certainly Taunt Druid and even Token Druids to a certain extent.
Absolutely. It's like, so it's even more curious now is why Risen, I guess we'll figure out what's left here. All right, so Risen is bringing out the Druid here. And this looks like Spiteful.
Yep, no, absolutely. Spiteful Summoner is what this leads you to believe. There's Ultimate Infestation in his opening hand along with the Greedy Sprite. That's usually the tip-off right there. Normally you see the Death Knight, you see the Ultimate Infestation. Still, could be anything. But Greedy Sprite usually lets you believe you're trying to ramp up, and it's so key to ramp up with the Druid just so you can get to turn 6 all that sooner. Meanwhile, Josh Samson, a complete keep. All gold cards, by the way. He's a fancy, fancy lad. Keeps every single one of his mulligan cards, the Cobalt Librarian into the Doomsayer with a Faceless Manipulator. I actually like every single one of those keeps. You have the Cobalt Librarian. It's gonna buff everything it needs to. The Doomsayer is gonna be a great turn to kind of delay the Spiteful turn, and even when the Spiteful turn comes out, Faceless Manipulator can copy whatever comes on board.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great keep, especially if he thought that he might be queuing into, well, either deck, honestly. Doomsayer would have been good for Paladin, but, I mean, this is an excellent setup even for Druid here. Now, Risen has a difficult decision on his hand because Josh is on the coin. If he throws out the Vicious Fledgling here, if he has Hellfire, he could clear this. But he's going to go ahead and go with it anyway. Which I think is reasonable.
Yeah, I like the move there from Risen. He wants to get the pressure on right away. He is asking for answers immediately from his opponent, and that's why it's all important to get that kind of to get that 3/3 on board. Meanwhile, a huge pull in from Risen right there, getting the Spellbreaker. He's going to be able to do some fun stuff here. We see +3 health, no Wind Fury on that side of things, but still formidable board here for Risen early on.
I would say, and it's good, and he does choose the plus health. I think the plus health was probably the better choice, almost regardless of whatever the pickup was there, with maybe the exception of Wind Fury. But now Risen, he can Spellbreaker this Doomsayer, and he's going to have a pretty menacing board for turn 4 if he does this. So
it's going to be interesting to see right here. Risen, he's kind of just biding his time. Obviously we kind of think that Spellbreaker is going to come down, but instead he doesn't. He goes with the Greedy Sprite play. I like this move for the fact that it gives him the opportunity to top deck that Spiteful Summoner on 6. Meanwhile, Skull of Minari going to come down, and the pressure all of a sudden going to come from Josh Samson.
Yep, absolutely. It's like, and he didn't top deck it. Unfortunately, he doesn't have weapon removal either, so something is going to be coming down here for Josh. But it looks like Risen's just going to want to probably drop either a couple taunts or he may activate Yeah, he picks 2 taunts here, so that seems reasonable.
And high health taunts as well. Let's see what comes out for Josh Sampson. Doomguard does come down, so he has to figure at this point, with Carnivorous Cubes in hand, he can't really do anything with them yet. He's going to face this Manipulator, one of these 5/7s. Hope then, he wants to just develop as many Doomguards as possible for that big Carnivorous Cube into Dark Pact turn on top of things. So you throw a top, I appreciate the play that Risen did there. He wanted to get 2 minions on board for his Fungalmancer. That's kind of the play he was going for there. But now you have the Glacial Shard in hand. It's only going to freeze out one of these Doom Guards. And even then, the Frozen Doom Guard probably going to get cubed after that.
Yeah, it's like, this is not a good situation for Risen here. I think that probably with the first Fungalmancer, I think is reasonable here. And then just start pushing. It's like, yep, and it looks like Risen is going to just push 3 here. Unfortunately for him, Josh has 2 cubes and a Dark Pact. So
2 cubes, a Dark
we're gonna
Pact,
see that Frozen
a
one.
Partridge, and a Pear Tree. Meanwhile, look at this. He's actually going to drop it down on the active Doom Guard. He's going to leave the 5/6 Doom Guard up. Now he's going to destroy that cube. Even more pressure start to come down from his opponent. And this is the thing you have to do against the Spiteful Druid. If it doesn't have Spiteful in hand and you develop a threatening board, you're going to win pretty quickly.
Yep, absolutely. It's like, and so Risen here, I mean, technically he could clear the Void Lord. It would cost him the second Fungalmancer, or he could just silence it. Would be the other route to go.
Let's see what he wants to do right here. A lot of pressure now sitting on Risen's side of things. He can, of course, silence the 3/9 and really find a way to just to fight back on board. Hope he can find a swing turn of his own, because if he doesn't, things are going to get rough pretty quickly. Staring down a lot of damage right there. There goes one Void Lord. He's down and away. There's the Firefly. He comes down. There's not much else he can do at this point. So now he's staring down 13 damage. Carnivorous Cube can do some more damage after that if he can find a great single target removal on top of it. Let's find out what comes down here.
So I'm trying to think, is Risen trying to decide? I think he just pushed. Okay, no. He's all right. He's gonna set up for this. So
let's see what comes out here.
Nothing here.
The other Dark Pact comes in.
Wow.
That's a huge amount of damage. So that is going to be, he's got 13 right there. He's got 23 to go on top of it. You might as well just push all of it at this point because there's not much else. I mean, you know that your opponent cannot answer that amount of pressure.
I would say, and he cannot UI the next turn. So he needs to. So Hellfire, I think, is lethal if he just does this right now. Oh, wow. Actually, I'm curious as to why he didn't do that.
We'll
I mean,
I like this
Hellfire.
move. This is a good move for right here. You saw what your opponent was trying to do. He was trying to set up board clears. He only has 2 cards in hand, and it's turn 9. Might as well clear things out. Guarantee yourself the win. Know that you can clear the entire board, maintain all 3 of your minions on the other side.
Okay, so the good news for Risen, he pulls Spiteful Summoner. Bad news is there are no 10 mana taunts anymore.
And he's also down to 9 health. That's also,
I
wouldn't call that good news either.
No. It's like, lethal on board, no way to get a taunt. And Risen's going to give this up. Yep. So, not much surprise. Both players end up winning with their Warlock. Warlock deck. So,
and I need to point out real quick the fact that anyone watching on that stream, the fact that Josh Sampson might play for RNG, but he just might be PTW, pay to win. Every aspect of that Q block, I think, was a golden card. That was fabulous. That was I've never seen anything like that. That was shiny. I am appreciative of Mr. Sampson for bringing that deck for all of the viewers to see.
Yeah, no, that's I tried to make a gold deck once, and then after that, I decided I would never gold out a deck again because it's really expensive. So whenever I see a full gold deck like that, I'm always really impressed by that.
I still have my Golden Miracle Rogue, man. Every time something comes out, I don't play it that often, but that's my OG deck, and whenever I have a chance to just make it all gold, I will invest into that because I just have to. I just love it too much. You know what we love? Game number 3.
Game number 3 is here. So both Druids are left up, and now it's just a matter between Paladin and Rogue.
Josh Sampson with that Rogue. He is bringing that Caverns Below Rogue, of course, the Quest Rogue. Really interesting to bring when you have controlling matchups to kind of go up against it. But when you're up against a Paladin and a Druid, it's gonna be rough sledding. It's not to say it's unwinnable, but it's going to be tough.
And even worse news for Josh here. This looks like even Paladin. I think with the right draw, this is going to be worlds faster than anything he can do. Now, he is holding the Wax Elemental, which is okay.
But you know what else is good with an even Paladin? Even Paladin with Call to Arms on the coin.
Yeah, no, this is... Yeah, no, he's going to be able to do some insane stuff here. It's like... And add in the Consecration to clear most of what's on a Quest Rogues board here. So, yeah... See, this is why I think if you're bringing a Quest deck here, you ban the Paladin out, because I don't know if you can beat most of the Paladins who are worlds aggressive more than you are.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that Josh Sampson really bringing what seemed to be a very control-focused lineup, which makes sense why you would ban the Rogue there. But if you're bringing Rogue yourself, you got to think that you're going to be pretty tough sledding against something like even Paladin, or even against something like a Spiteful Summoner Druid that is able to get this summoner out on turn 6. Valeria the Hollow now into Josh Sampson's hand. He's got a few options right here, but the problem is none of these things really kill off this 1/2 right now.
No, I mean, well, he actually could if he would have dropped Vicious Scaled-Hide, Shadow Stepped it, and killed it again. Now, unfortunately, he is going to coin out Call to Arms, so he'll take at least 3 damage off the top here.
This is going to hurt. Let's find out what comes down right here. Another Knife Juggler, so now everything after this
really gonna
is
hurt.
double. Here comes a Plated Beetle. Now in the hand, of course, with the defensive capabilities. Acidic Swamp Ooze comes through as well, so that is plenty of damage from Josh Sampson right now.
That's insane.
You could see Ryzen, he goes with the more mid-range even spot right here. The fact he's got Consecrations in hand, he has something like Plated Beetle to give himself a little bit of health gain. He even has Acidic Swamp Ooze to deal with what it would no doubt be something like the Skull of Minari or any type of weapon that you would see from your opponent. So right away, Vicious Scaled-Hide comes down. The quest is being attempted to be completed, but he's only going to be sitting, I believe, 3 out of 5 at this point, and the pressure is on.
Yep. Now, I mean, admittedly, it's good that these are Vicious Scale-Hide, so he will gain a little bit of life out of this, but still, this is a lot of pressure really quickly coming from Risen.
Now you got to figure out ways in which you have to figure out what type of pressure you want to put on and how much. Of course, he's got the Loot Hoarder. It's going to draw him a card, but it's not going to really put on a lot of pressure. You got to feel like he wants to get this Armani Berserker out of his hand really rather quickly.
I'm going to say, I think Blessing of Kings this. I think Blessing of Kings is one of these things and just start pushing crazy.
There it comes.
Yeah, and Risen agrees. Yep.
Down to 12 health is Josh Sampson.
Let's see. Not lethal yet.
Mimic Pod doesn't help anything on the quest because he already drew both Scale Hides already. Elven Minstrel comes into hand now. That's not any help either. Wax Elemental going to slow down his opponent a little bit, and the trade going to come as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens now from this opponent. Of course, Consecration. You know, I will say the Wax Elemental going to do the job that it needs to do. It's essentially saving 12 damage right here.
It really is. It's like, yeah, it's going to hold everything off for a little bit. It looks like Risen's going to Armani Berserker and maybe Loot Hoarder try to continue drawing some cards to get to something here. But yeah, it was like, this is, Josh here picks up the second Mimic Pod.
But still, he's looking for bounce effects right now. He wants to complete that quest as soon as he can. He's hoping to find, a prep into the right type of spell, preferably the completed quest as well. There's the other Wax Elemental. He's going to deny him a little bit. Shonya Shadowcaster, pretty solid as well. But the thing is, these Scale Hides have 3 health. They're kind of tough to kill off, even with the Sonya.
Yep. I'm trying to look to see here. He can consecrate and push 9 to the face, or 9 to the face right now, if you would like. It looks like, because a consecration would clear this board up.
Absolutely. Consecration completely clears up this board, gets rid of that Scale Hide that your opponent wants to bounce back left and right. There could be some consideration here to kind of damage the Armani Berserker at some point, try to get you that little extra bit of damage right there, but he says, no thank you, I'm just going to clear this thing off, keep generating tokens where I can, and keep putting the pressure on my opponent.
Yep, and he's going to keep pushing. Now, unfortunately for Josh, if he's thinking the second Wax Elemental is going to save him, he is incorrect. But he actually may be able to complete the quest here with Sonya. You got to kill it if you want to. I think he meant to put that into the 6/7.
He might have.
Yeah, it's like because
Things are
and
looking
he
slim.
realizes the issue.
And that is
The Risen will
exactly
take
that's exactly what happens with this type of rogue. That you can load that up as much as you want to, but if you're going up against aggro, things are always going to be kind of rough for you. That's like a 70-30 matchup at best. Some would say possibly 60-40 if you're really good piloting it. But either way, you're going to be in for a rough time.
Yeah, it's like, and I mean, I get why Josh banned the rogue. I truly get it. Problem is, Paladin's a little bit more aggressive than the rogue, even when you consider odd rogue. Paladin, I mean, that was a turn 5 kill from the Paladin.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was
Turn 5, turn 6.
But at the same time, the Paladin had Knife Juggler into a Call to Arms. That's when you leave that type
into
of
a
board
second Knife Juggler.
Yeah, if you have no answer to it, it's going to be rough. So here we go. Risen is now one game away from a match victory for his team, and so we're going to see what Josh Sampson and the really nice guys can do to come back at it. It's going to be Quest Rogue up against the Spiteful Druids. So no Druid on Druid matchup for Josh Sampson. He's going to stick with this rogue.
Now this matchup, I will say, I like this a lot better for the Quest Rogue here.
But the problem is, I mean, there's a pretty decent curve out here for Risen. He's going to be able to go Firefly on 1. He can drop down the Vicious Fledgling on 2. He can then go Greedy Sprite on 3. Even has some silence to go on a Wax Elemental if he wants to on turn 4. If enough pressure comes down from Josh Sampson, things are going to look rough. However, both Glacial Shards in hand, he has a way to bounce things back. Some opportunity for Josh Sampson.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, he's three through his quest right now, so, or at least 3 from what we're seeing. But it looks like Risen is going to drop that Vicious Fledgling. He's basically saying, do you have the answer? Which we know the answer is, well, sort of. He has a way to freeze it at least.
Yeah, the answer is maybe. Sap is a nice card to have as well. It's going to delay even more so for your opponent. That's what he wants to do. But it's not just delay that you need with this rogue. It's delay with quest completion on top of it. Shadow Steps are going to help you, but it needs to be more.
Yep, I was about to say, I want to see Josh Shadow Step this, because then that sets up a 0 mana Glacial Shard into 4 mana Elven Mistral to draw 2 cards. Get 2 creatures. So.
Oh, look at that. There's the other Vicious Fledgling. So, both Glacial Shards going to be needed right here from your opponent. It's going to be a risk here. Does he go with the Glacial Shard into Elven Minstrel play, or does he go both shards and just bide his time a little bit? Let's see what he does here.
I'm about to say, I don't like... Yeah, he's going to go with that. It's like, I don't like both shards, because both shards are going to... Well, especially when you pick up Youthful Brewmaster for next turn. Yeah. I think this is the right play from Josh. It's like, if you toss both out, then you lose your quests, basically.
And we'll see what comes of this. The Vicious Fledgling, of course, would love to see some Wind Fury, but it might get something else. Stealth until the end of the turn. That's a good move right there. He's not going to be able to interact with that anymore. Meanwhile, you're on turn 4, so you got to think possibly the Greedy Sprite plus another Firefly just to go wide on board, and hopefully maybe the Greedy Sprite dies off and you can drop that Summoner.
Yeah, I think that's actually a... I think that's the plan there for Risen, is put it down, see what happens. You're gonna have he can't target that Vicious Fledgling with anything here, so that's gonna get another hit in at least with this.
And of course, he does have the sap in hand, so even when that Spiteful turn comes, Josh is still gonna be able to hold a lot of this pressure at bay. And look at this, the silence on the 3/3 just to remove the Glacial Shard right there, hoping that his opponent doesn't have the other one in hand. Of course, we know the answer to that question. Of course, the Glacial Shard is sitting in hand, and it's going to come down. It's going to get bounced back and hopefully come down again from there. Of course, Josh Sampson sitting 2 of 5 on his quest at the moment.
Yep. If he's going to drop this Glacial Shard, I want to see this Glacial Shard go face. Use the Elven Minstrel to kill the Spellbreaker, and use his face to kill the 3/1. That's left over, and then he can bounce it back with Youthful Brewmaster if he would like at this point. But basically clear the board as much as humanly possible this turn, and then get it set up for next turn, because you're at 2 of 5 right now.
Yeah, you got to think you got to bounce back that Glacial Shard, considering that the other one's already died at some point, and that's your only chance to really complete this quest for you. You still have 3 more Glacial Shards need to come down right now. So we're going to see what Sampson... He's kind of hovering over that Vicious Scalehide, gain back a little bit of tempo if he wants to, but now the rope is burning, the time is flying by, so he's going to go with the freeze out of the 4/3. He's going to bounce it back after that, and hopefully keep up a couple of 3/2s, maybe drop the Scalehide as well.
Okay, he's going to drop the Scalehide. All right, so yeah, I'm okay with this plan too. I think it's like gaining 1 life back is pretty good here. So Yeah, this seems like a reasonable plan.
And one more bounce back is all it's needed from Josh Sampson to pick up this quest and freeze out his opponent even more so. Fungal Mancer going to come down right here, going to add a bunch of
huge
value. If this is Wind Fury, there's going to be plenty of pressure coming from his opponent. Let's see what he
There's Wind Fury. Yep, he gets the Wind Fury, so Wind Fury is coming in. Second hit.
Is it stealth again? That's going to be the big question.
No, I can't be targeted by spells or hero powers because you're playing a rogue and they're probably playing sap. I go with can't be targeted by spells or hero powers.
That's
Easy.
a solid spot.
Okay,
But he goes with the Divine Shield instead. It's still enough pressure, and if your opponent uses sap on this, they do not have a sap for your Spiteful Summoner on 6.
Yeah, it's like, so it looks like from Josh here, he might be looking to clear this by tossing both the current creatures into it and using the South Sea Deckhand to break the shield. So he's in an interesting scenario. Unfortunately, he can't play the Glacial Shard because he has no bounce back effect yet.
So much pressure on Josh Sampson. How does he avoid taking the loss 3-1 right here? Of course, kind of a risk bringing this Quest Rogue lineup. It's great against control, bad against almost everything else. He's got to really maneuver well here so he can stay alive and find a way to complete his quest. He needs one more bounce back to complete it. Valyria the Hollow just still a few turns away from getting that stealth up for one turn. In the meantime, Stone Tusk Boar, Glacial Shard, he can play these things down, but they don't accomplish much.
No, and he literally can't. I mean, he can toss down Stone Tusk Boar here with not much issue. If he tosses the Glacial Shard down, he's not going to get a fifth cast on it.
So turn 6 comes down for Risen. I think we all know what's going to show up here.
Yep.
It is the Spiteful Summoner. It's going to pull off a 10-cost spell, which means a 10-cost minion is going to show up. Will it be an 8-8, 10-10, 12-12? Let's find out.
That
the best
12-12
one.
Tyrannus.
That
the
can't
best
be
one
sapped.
you can get.
That can't be sapped any day of the week. Mimic Pod now comes down, bringing out Elven Minstrel. Things looking dire for Josh Sampson.
Okay, he has no choice. He has to Glacial Shard the Tyrannus here. He has literal no choice here on this one. If he doesn't, he is dead.
Glacial
it means he's going to lose his Glacial Shard. He's going to lose his quest, but
there's nothing else he can do.
No, it's like. And of course, Risen's probably chomping at the bit to hero power this down.
Look at that. Bittertide Hydra now comes into the hand for Risen. He really went aggressive with this lineup right here. Well, you know that aside from like a really bad Defile play, you can put a lot of pressure on with those 8/8s. But instead, second Spiteful Summoner come down. Will we see Tyrannus number 2, or will we see Emerus? Will we see possibly a Deathwing? Let's find out.
I think we're going to see Tyrannus number 2 here.
One.
Yep, got them both. This is literally like worst case scenario for Josh here.
And just for posterity, I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Yeah, we're going to hold on to that one.
Yep. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that he could pull from here. Yep, and he says no. So Risen is going to win this match 3-1, and he's going to keep the Thermic Whims alive in this series. That means the next match, it does not matter if Jack Sox wins or not, because it will go to the 5th game.
Absolutely. So, but that doesn't mean that next match is not important between Jack Sox and Crackshot. The battle of 5 seeds will be next. So we saw right away, Risen, he banned out the Priest, which we thought was peculiar, but what it turned out to be was that even more peculiar was the ban of the Rogue from Josh Sampson. The fact that he brought the Quest Rogue expecting... I'm not sure on the pick of Quest Rogue. You see Warlock, you see Paladin, you see Druid. The Druid and Paladins, not necessarily decks that you would assume to be very controlling lineups, even though Taunt Druid is a thing. Was that the right pick, or should he gone with something like an Odd Rogue, maybe even a Miracle-style deck?
I'm going to say, honestly, as someone who brought Quest Rogue this past week, I think Quest Rogue is a perfectly fine choice. The catch is, you can't leave up Paladin. Is like, that's my major issue with it, is that... leaving up Paladin is basically saying, okay, I'm going to give you a shot. Basically, going to give you one game here. So, sorry, I'm in the process of trying to get our next match set up and ready here.
That's fine. I will talk about our second match as Will helps us get set up for everything. So, match number 2, of course, we have Jack Sox of the Thermic Whims, the teammate of Risen, against Crackshot of the Really Nice Guys, who's the teammate of Josh Sampson. These competitors are bringing Druid, Mage, Paladin, and Rogue from Jack Sox. Looks to be a very aggressive lineup on paper right away from Jack Sox. Meanwhile, Crackshot goes Paladin, Priest, Rogue, Warlock. Kind of a even 50-50 between those spots, unless he does bring the Quest Rogue, as has been tradition so far we've seen today. Jack Sox and Crackshot are the 5 seeds of their respective team. Jack Sox, who is one of the hosts of Tavern Talk, of course, a lot of people know, is all-time record 28-41 in THL, while Crackshot is 24-16. Jack Sox, mostly known for bringing the memes or just having, he's all about having fun in THL, no matter what league that he's in. But now that he is sitting on the Thermic Whims, we might see the try-hard Jack Sox, which I'm interested to see what that amalgamation looks like.
I would be too. It's like, just to see if they could, because as you said, I think in years past he's been on meme teams or has played more traditional meme or more meme decks more than anything else. So yeah, I hope we see a try hard Jack Sox here. This would be great if we do.
I'd be down for it as well. But between these, you look at these lineups, Jack Sox appears to have kind of an aggressive lineup coming from his side of things. Crackshot, a nice balanced lineup from his side. Before we get the bans in from these players, if you were sitting looking at this, what do you expect the bans to be? What do you think the lineup is going to happen here?
Well, unfortunately, I think Jack Sox made his ban pretty easy in terms of what's going to be banned. I think this is a Paladin ban all the way for him. Now, Crackshot is a little bit more interesting here. On what you ban on Crackshot's lineup, that I'm not 100%.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be
like
tough.
That, you could see Jack Sox, if he's bringing a very aggressive lineup on his side, you might just see him right away take out the Warlock and say, I don't want to deal with it.
I think that seems reasonable. It's like, yeah, he's bringing Paladin and Rogue. I wouldn't be surprised if that was either like an odd even or even Murloc Paladin and maybe even odd Rogue. So if he's being really, really aggressive, then I think, yeah, this is a Warlock, I think. Eliminate the Warlock here, and then you can go from there. So, sorry.
That'll be fine. We're communicating with the players as we speak. We're going to find out what these bans are going to be left and right. In the meantime, of course, if you are watching the stream for the very first time, welcome to Salty Saturday. No longer in the afternoon, Salty Saturday evenings. We're making those adjustments. We're new. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But if you don't know anything about Team Hearth League, you can always go to teamhearthleague.com and find out about all the different leagues, from the Ragnaros League to the Sylvanas League. Of course, Ragnaros being Conquest format, Sylvanas being Last Hero Standing, and of course the new Mysterious Challenger League, which is just a singleton league, which is also a lot of fun. You can find our Discord as well, which there is a fabulous community of Hearthstone players where you can come and hang out, find a team yourself, or participate in any of our one singleton tournaments that we host every so often. There's plenty to do in Team Hearth League, isn't there, Force of Will?
Yes, there is, absolutely. Yes, it's like I'm excited. Mysterious Challenger League this season. It's like this is a great new addition for us. It's going to be basically like a month-long tournament, Swiss style, from what I understand. So it's going to be really exciting to see that. And then, of course, you just saw a really exciting Ragnaros League match, which is our Conquest, and then tomorrow, actually, you'll get to see 2 Sylvanas League matches during Sunday Showdown. So that's going to be very, very exciting. So. Sorry, we are still in the process of getting them all set up. They are in the challenge screen now. We are just awaiting their bans, and we'll be ready to go here. So, so with this win, I believe this puts now Thermic Whims ahead 9-7. So they are currently 9-7 with the win from Risen here. So.
Yeah, that's all important, as you see, especially week 1. You want to start off the week in a really good spot. You see teams like Team Synergy start off pretty decently. They're already up with 13 points with 1 match left to go. You have other teams sitting there doing decently to start off with. Hot Pepper, Dirty Mike, and the boys has 1 match left. Still pretty competitive there, but 12 points for Hot Pepper, which is always really fun. Maple Syrup Inc. Has played 3 games and already has 12 points. That's a great start for them up against the Pod People. And there's plenty of other matches left to be played to see how everything is going to kind of roll out between these two teams. Really nice guys, Thermic Whims. We've seen a lot happen so far, but the one thing we do know is that Thermic Whims does have 9 points sitting for them right now. Meanwhile, Really Nice Guys 7. So 9-7 is where we're sitting so far.
Yep, absolutely. And just to give a little bit of history on these two teams for people who may be new, Thermic Whims last season was a powerhouse team. I think they finished after 9 weeks of regular season play, they finished up with like 170 some odd points. I mean, it's something I haven't seen in Team Hearthleague. I don't, almost coming up on 5 years. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it before, to be perfectly honest. Which is just the level of dominance that they had.
Which was all the more surprising that when they got to the playoffs, it was a little bit of an early exit for them.
It was, yeah. They actually lost to Team Synergy in the first round of the playoffs, which, again, very surprising from the team that was so dominant throughout the entire season. Really nice guys last season. They were actually in the playoff hunt. And they were actually in the same conference, sort of like this season, as Thermic Whims. Thermic Whims had already secured their playoff spot by that point, but Really Nice Guys was in the conversation. And if it wasn't for, I believe, Team Synergy actually jumping them the very final week to make the playoffs, they would have been in the playoffs last season. So it's really interesting to see these two teams facing off week one. Now, would you be really surprised at a week one Thermic Whim loss based on last season?
I think a lot of people would, but, as someone who has been in the league for a little bit now, I think about 4 or 5 seasons myself, there's no guarantees in Team Hearthleague. Past success does not always mean that you're going to just jump right back in and be the dominant force that you were the season before because of things like the PR cap. There's always going to be a little bit of turnover between the two players.
Yes.
There's always going to be a little turnover on the makeup of your team. And even then, just the way Hearthstone is played, you'll look at the lifetime stats of a lot of players, and the vast majority of people are usually within just a game or 3 of 500. The longer you play, the more 500 you are. It doesn't matter what your PR is usually.
It's like, yeah, absolutely. As we actually just got bans in, and the bans I gotta say are a little interesting.
And what's that?
So Crackshot has banned Jacksox's Rogue, not Paladin. Whereas Jacksox has banned Crackshot's Paladin. So that was really interesting overall because I'll be honest now, I don't know what to think about these lineups because if Jacksox is bringing an aggressive lineup, why are you banning the Paladin?
I think we're in for some 5-seed fun. That's what I think.
I think we're in some 5-seed fun too. And then, yeah, if with the decks that Crackshot brought, again, we already talked about, probably want to ban Paladin if you're going more controlling lineup. But it'll be very interesting, but we have them now on standby. So are we ready to get into this match?
We're ready to roll, baby. Let's get moving. Let's find out these battle of 5 seeds. Interesting bands between the two of them. I think we're in for some 5-seed fun. Myself, Jacksox, who knows? He might just roll straight control with all these. He could go Taunt Druid, Big Spell Mage, even Control Paladin if he wanted to as well. We might even see buff like Quest Paladin from Jacksox just because he thinks it's a solid deck to bring, right? Yeah, Crackshot on the same time. It's gonna be interesting.
I will say, playing ladder round 4-5 today, the rank 4-5 floor, I actually saw a Last Kalidas sword deck, Paladin, that was playing the Echoing Bells.
I'm enjoying that deck. I've actually played a little bit of that deck. It's a Control Paladin with the Quest shell inside, or it's a Control shell with the Quest inside of it. It is able to kind of just give you that little bit extra that you need.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it looks like they are now in game, so we are ready
game up here in just a second as we get Steven Taft. Of course, Jacksox going to be up here. Let's get him spectated, and here we go. And right away, we see the Priest coming out for Crackshot, and we see the Mage and Aluneth in hand for Jacksox. This is going to be a good start if he's an aggressive style Mage.
Yep, this appears to be a very tempo Mage list here. Tempo/secret Mage with the life triggers. Very popular new card. We originally saw it in the Shudderwock decks, but it's actually starting to find its way into some other decks because, 4 mana 3/3 that deals 3 to your opponent and gains 3 for yourself is pretty decent card just on its own.
Yeah, I mean it's a 4-mana 3/3 with a Frostbolt attached to it in this type of deck, which is always fun to see. Crackshot, couple of Northshire Clerics in hand, which is really solid to see as well. Shadow Visions is going to be very important for flexibility, and Mass Dispel, if some Mana Worms get out of hand pretty quickly, you'll have an answer on turn 4 or even turn 3 with the coin. And we see the full toss of the weapon from Jack Sox. He actually tosses the weapon out. You got to think against a priest, you just want to hold on to that weapon. You're probably going to be able to get it out on turn 6.
I think so. It's like, yeah, for Crackshot here, he's going to be able to toss down his Northshire Cleric. And actually, you can probably toss the second one down next turn if you would like. But yeah, no, Alaneth, this is going to be a game that's going to go long. You're probably going to need most of the cards in your deck to win this. Yeah, I think I would have on the Alaneth as well.
And of course, a very important card in the fact that he drops down the Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is a high-value target that needs to be answered. And the thing about Crackshot is that he won't have an answer for this on turn 1, so there's going to be plenty of value for Jack Sox to get out of this Sorcerer's Apprentice here already.
So I don't know if we talked about Crackshot's deck. I am like 95% certain this is the Mind Blast Control Priest.
Yeah, it seems to have all the makings of that.
It is like... which also makes me a little surprised as to when he Shadow Visions, why did he not take the second Shadow Visions to try to get another Mind Blast? To have multiple Mind Blasts to set up the sort of combo kill at the end.
Look at this. Spellbender is going to be really good to counteract something like a Power Word Shield. Shifting Scroll, of course, just let the randomness decide your fate is always good here. Lesser Ruby Spellstone, probably the weakest of the 3, in my opinion, for just the fact that you're not going to be able to play out some elementals. So look at that. Shifting Scroll into the hand for Jack Sox. Here comes Cinderstorm, which is a nice, look at that, a 2-mana deal 5 to the face, also very nice to see.
That's pretty decent. Pretty decent there. So, for Crackshot here, he's actually going to be able to combo this pretty nicely here with the Power Ward Shield. Clear off the Sorcerer's Apprentice really nicely.
Harrison Jones now in the hand for Crackshot. So if Alunath does show its face again, it's only going to get 1 turn of value out of that. What is the first Shifting Scroll? The Snap Freeze, of course, which is a fairly terrible card to have right now. But, of course, that's the great thing about the Shifting Scroll. It can turn to something else a little bit later.
Yep. Honestly, with Jack Sox here, I can't think of anything better than just dropping 1 or 2 Life Drinkers. Just gain 3, you're not going to get the full benefit, but you at least deal 3 more damage.
Yeah, you're still putting damage to face. You're contesting the board a little bit, which you kind of need to do against something like this Wild Pyromancer, who has the ability with the right amount of spells just to be annoying. It's just going to be so annoying to try and deal with. So the Life Drinker comes down, going to deal more damage to the face of Crackshot. But here's the thing about the Mage: it really needs to put the pressure on early. If it doesn't get its 1 drops in line, it needs to find swing turns, and it needs to find Alunath, both of which are not in good supply for Jack Sox right now.
No, they're not. It's like, and even worse for Jack Sox, Crackshot can clear this with a draw. It's like they'll push it back up to a 3/4, get a draw out of it, and then he can kill the Life Drinker right now.
That's exactly what he does. He's going to be able to clear off everything, even buff up the Wild Pyromancer and damage his 1/3 so he can heal some things up a little bit later if he wanted to. Going into turn number 5 for Jack Sox, and now a 5-mana Flame Strike sitting in hand. That's pretty decent.
That's pretty decent. I think you go to the Flame Strike all the way here. You can't let him keep drawing off of.
There's an interaction. There's an interaction there I had no idea about. The fact that if you pull Shifting Scroll off a Primordial Gryph, no matter what spell comes from that Shifting Scroll, it's always going to have the discount.
Yeah, which is nice. It's actually very nice.
And I learned something today.
Yeah. And so, I'm trying to think. Jack Sox may also be thinking to roll the dice a little bit here and go Arcane Missiles and see if he can clear both these with some lucky hits.
That's also true.
Because Flame Strike mainly for 2 things that cost 3 mana is probably not the greatest of value.
So we'll find out right here. Arcane Missiles comes down, and probably a counterspell after that. He's going to buff up his other minion, and he's going to be able to use his hero power actually to completely clear out. But this Dustbreaker is a pretty nice answer for a Mana Worm.
Oh yeah, it's a very nice answer for the Mana Worm. Easy, clean, clear here, and Jack
another
Sox,
Snap Freeze. A second Snap Freeze. The Shifting Scroll has not foretold wonderful things for Jack Sox right now.
No, it has not. That is really rough.
You gotta think that Spellbender might have been the pick there, knowing that Priest likes to buff up its own minions a little bit. You could have been able to swing over that. They still would have get the card draw out of it, but you could have developed something like a 1/3, which would have turned into a 1/5 to contest board still.
I must say, and what's really bad for him is this is. Yeah, I mean, he's basically just sourcing the Sorcerer Apprentice out here for literally free. That's a little rough.
That's Alexstrasza now into hand for a crack shot. Instead, Power Word Shield going to come out, trigger the counterspell right there. He's going to be able, of course, to drop this 3/2 in if he wants to as well. Yeah, a little bit of an ordering there from crack shot. Well, I guess not. You could probably drop down that dragon in the hopes that it was an explosive ruin.
Yeah, and see, this is, I think Jack Frost is seeing here, this is the reason you keep Alaneth in this match. Is because if you do not, you can run out of stuff to do really, really quickly.
And of course, the weapon hate was in hand for Crackshot as well. It just seemed that all the second weapon removal here for Crackshot. That's impressive.
Yep.
Impressive or excessive? What do you think?
Actually, the more that I'm thinking about it, is that maybe the reason he left the Paladin up was because he knew he hit, and I wouldn't be surprised if all his decks are packing at least two weapon removals.
So now Explosive Ruins into hand, Vaporize now in hand as well. Going to be a pretty defensive play in some way, shape, or form. And if you're a defensive play as a tempo mage, you're going to be sitting in a bad way. Now, Crackshot can actually start to think about how he wants to line up lethal, almost. The fact that he can drop down Alexstrasza, put him at 15 health, and just start going to face.
Yep. This is going to... it will even eat the Explosive Ruins. Now, the question is, do you swing into the Arcanologist or do you swing into the face? And he says Arcanologist.
So, looks like the Kirin Tor Mage can come down with a counterspell, but it will not matter of the fact that Crackshot has no way, or that Jack Sox has no way to answer the pressure from Crackshot. Sitting there with plenty of damage to go forward and lethal in hand next turn.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, no, this is Crackshot's going to take game one here. It's I honestly would be surprised to see a concession right here, but.
Yeah, you got to go back to the tossing of the legendary weapon, the Alineth, right in the mulligan against a priest. Against a more aggressive. If this was paladin, even if this was rogue, considering it could have been odd rogue or hunter, of course, you might toss that weapon early on, but you can hold on to it against most of those slower decks.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, actually, that's really the type of deck that this type of mage feeds on, is the slow controlling type decks. Because you can just start drawing your deck and be like, all right, I'm just going to blow you up now.
So the pressure goes in, the Mind Blast comes through, and game number one is going to go to Crackshot.
Yep. So he will win with his Priest, and that is going to leave us with Rogue and Warlock.
Now, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes with this. Of course, he banned out the Rogue of Jack Sox, which leads you to believe he went with the more control-focused lineup. And if he did go full control, Jack Sox could be in some trouble here.
Yep. It's if this Rogue is Quest Rogue, then yeah, the Jack Sox may be in a world of hurt.
If it's Quest Rogue, then Jack Sox with his style of aggression, then the Quest Rogue is the way he has a chance to kind of come through. If it's Odd Rogue, it can really be kind of very annoying to deal with on that side of things. The Rogue might be the weak spot for Crackshot here if it is Quest, but if he's going for the throat and leaving and cutting out the Rogue itself, you know that there's some control lineups sitting there.
Yep. Absolutely. So, and looks like they are getting into game number 2 here.
And we'll find out right away. We see that is Mage against Warlock. It's going to be interesting to see what this Warlock is going to be. I see Tainted Zealot along with a Spellstone and a Cobalt Librarian. That's a great starting lineup if you are bringing a control Warlock.
This has got to be control lock, I think. Because I don't think you run the Tainted Zealot in Cube.
And now,
at least I have not seen it yet.
Alineth is now in the hand again for Jack Sox in an opening where you got to expect it is a control-focused lineup. Will he toss the legendary weapon this time, or has he learned from the first game and will he hold on to it?
I'm hoping he learned from the first game and just said, no, I'll hold on to it this time.
Let's see what he does here.
So, for Crackshot, Since he has the 1 mana Kobold Librarian, then yeah, that's a full keep for him, which I'm not surprised. Yep, Jack Sox actually only tossed back one thing.
And ended up getting a glyph off of it, which is really nice to see.
Really nice pickup there. For Jack Sox here, I think this is just going to be past turn. I mean, if he wants to get a little snarky, he could coin out Hero Power, but that seems like a terrible move.
He was really hoping for a 1-drop right there to start off with, but plenty of burn in hand as well. If he can find a way to establish a little bit of a board, protect his minions, he might be able to sneak this out.
He might. All right, so Crackshot picks up Siphon Soul there. He's going to go ahead and Hero Power. Just, again, kind of getting the nice habit of drawing a bunch of cards and see where it goes. Now, this turn, Jaxos is going to kill the Librarian to set up potentially explosive runes on the next turn.
Yeah, I like this move from Jaxos. He's going to try and open up the board, knowing that his opponent doesn't normally put a lot of minions up early. Doesn't apply a lot of pressure. Of course, we'll probably see a Stonehill Defender come down here, which is annoying in and of itself, but there's ways in which you can deal with things right there. That Tar Lurker seems like a really nice play on 5. The Voidwalker, of course, seems flexible. You can always fill out your mana curve with a nice 1/3 taunt as well. Goes with the 0/9 unpowered Steambot.
You know what, though? I think if I'm trying to understand where Crackshot is coming here from this, one, that's a good next turn, because chances are if he's playing Control, he is not playing Stonehill or the Giants. But 2, that was the only one of the 3 choices that was not a demon.
And 3, it can absorb, it basically just nullifies an Explosive Ruins.
It does, yeah, and that's what he may have been predicting as well, that the next turn was going to be Explosive Ruins. So, it's not.
Cheap Primordial Glyph comes into hand, so another Frostbolt for Jaxos is going to freeze out this 1/4, leave some possibilities for himself to do some damage, but still answers galore, and a Gluttonous Ooze comes into hand for Crackshot to answer what is going to be a turn 6 Alionath. Again, this very control-focused lineup just seems to have all the answers early on.
It does. It's like, Alionath is not going to get any value off this. I wouldn't be surprised to see underpowered Steambot come out now. I'm trying to think if there's any better turn 4 play. I don't see anything. He has no Defile. I would say Defile could be a consideration, but... And Tainted Zealot. Okay, so... Interesting pickup there.
Fireball now into the hand, going straight to face. Jaxos just says, I just need to just hope that my opponent doesn't have the heal and that I have enough burn to last me.
And I think he has 6 more from hand from Fireball, and then going into his Alionath turn.
So now Crackshot is even on the side where he says, hey, if you want to race, maybe we can get into a little bit of race. Now he's got everything sitting on his side. Of course, he can go coin into Alionath right here. He can develop a 4/3 plus a free Explosive Ruins if he wants to. Seems like that's going to be the play right here.
I think it seems reasonable. And then you could pop the Tainted Zealot if you would like.
You could also go coin Arcane Intellect to draw just that much more burn if he wants to.
Yep, that is an option as well.
I like that
There's burn and burn.
I like that. That's a lot of burn in hand. You're going to be able to drop Alionath, which is going to find you more damage on top of it. So the Explosive Ruins comes down, doesn't use the unpowered spot. So now he's down. Basically, it's an even trade. You know, he was at 15 health. It stays at 15 health.
Yep, it seems reasonable. And actually, he's going to gain more health here from the Amethyst Spellstone. But Jaxos going to push.
And the Spellstone buffed by the Tainted Zealot, so it gave him just that much more health as well.
All right, Jaxos is saying it's time. Alionath going to draw 3 cards. Unfortunately for him, that's all he's going to do. And Crackshot's already mousing over Gluttonous Ooze. He's primed and ready for this one.
Drops that down as well. He can even go with a Dark Pact to gain even more life if he wanted to. Of course, he can drop this Steambot at any point, but he doesn't think he needs it right now. He thinks he can still tap and find the resources that he needs. So now even his opponent's staring down at 8 damage per turn as well. Jaxos is just going to start throwing the damage out here right now.
I'm going to say, I want to see, I think, the Mana Wyrm Cinderstorm and see what you could potentially clear out before you make a decision on whether to start using your burn to try to clear off minions, because that's not really where you want to be with as the Tempo Mage.
And of course, Sorcerer's Apprentice is going to discount some things as well, which is going to be good if you have the mana to start using it up as well.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, he actually tossed both out right now, and that would be pretty decent. because we know even with Crackshot holding a Twisting Nether, unless somehow Jaxos makes a very formidable board, then I don't see a way out for him on this one.
So Sorcerer's Apprentice going to come down here. It's what he's thinking about. He's going to discount as many of his spells as he can. Start throwing the burn around if he wants to. He still could develop that Mana Worm if he wants to. Cinderstorm is sitting in hand as well.
I still like to see that Mana Worm come out right now. He is just going to go... I still would like to see the Mana Worm come out here.
Defensive Fireball is what we see here.
Actually, he's going full defense. Again, and he's going to find out he had 1 mana left over. I think huge misstep there on Jaxox's part.
Yeah, he left that Mana Worm wide open for some buffs. But instead, again, just it's same story, different chapter. Just drop down a Despicable Dreadlord, be able to clear off your opponent. You can even Dark Pact here and just put yourself back almost to full health.
Yeah.
Key turn that we saw from Jaxox. He went defensive. He might have had to go offensive, knowing that he was already on the back heels anyway.
Well, for Jaxox here, he does have both Light Drinkers. I wouldn't be surprised to see them both come out right now. See if he can set up something, anything that could lead to more lethal damage.
You got to think there was even an opportunity to drop a counterspell there, hoping that your opponent would use a Dark Pact on it and deny 8 health right there. It'd probably be the only value you get out of that counterspell, knowing you still have Burn in hand to use.
All right, well, Jaxox does pick up the Power Blast here. There's a turn away from casting it. Now he's going to cast out the Mana Worm. Maybe thinking Arcanologist right now.
Yeah, a lot of different options here for him. Of course, that Void Lord's sitting right there. And, of course, turn 10, Blood Reaver Gul'dan is going to nullify a lot of burn as well.
It is, yep. So he is going to counterspell here, it looks like. And then he may Cinderstorm to see just exactly... He's really hoping for 2 to hit on the Despicable Dreadlord. And it does.
That comes down as well. Some things lined up for Crackshot. He can even throw this into the Mana Worm, drop Blood Reaver Gul'dan, and get everything back.
Yep, and that is exactly what he is going to do here. He will...
We lost Force of Will there for a second. We're getting his connection back online. But once we do, we will kind of get him rolling again. Will, you there, my friend?
I'm here.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Fantastic. We got you back. It got a little pixelated there for a second.
Cool. Oh, sorry. It was like, all right. So, yeah, with both Despicable Dreadlords now, unfortunately, most of the stuff in Jaxox's deck is going to be really hard to manage with 2 of those out.
Yeah, nothing else he can do right here. I think the fact that we saw the weapon removal hate, we saw the fact that he used his spells defensively, even a misplay there with the Mana Worm. It's just not his game right now. He maybe just has to regroup, hoping he can come back for a reverse sweep.
Yeah, I think that's I don't see him. The last deck that's left up for him right now is after this one, assuming this is going to be a win with the Warlock, is going to be the Rogue. And so if it's a Quest Rogue, then he might be okay. If it's Odd Rogue, he may be in a little bit of trouble.
Absolutely. So double Despicable Dreadlords mean he's just doing Demon Wrath basically every single turn at the end of his turn. And even then, Explosive Ruins comes down, absorbs all the damage with Rin. Rin now can start throwing seals down. Things just, it's just a blessing of riches here for Crackshot.
It really is. It's like, Crackshot has maneuvered this almost beautifully here. It's like to where I don't think there's any route where he does not get lethal in the next turn. So
now the big question: will Jaxox do honorable and throw the Power Blast to the face? He will not. He'll just take the concede and bottom right.
Yeah, I should have tossed the face. But anyway, so Crackshot's up 2-0.
But even though he's up 2-0, if he brought Quest Rogue, this could get dicey. We could see a reverse sweep very quickly because Quest Rogue, not only is it bad against aggro, it's also insanely difficult to pilot. It's one of the more difficult decks that you can play in all of Hearthstone.
It really is. It's like, I mean, what's bad is when we think about Quest Rogue almost a year ago, Quest Rogue then seems ridiculously easy now compared to what, the new Quest Rogue where you have to do the 5 bounces and you have to do a whole bunch of different things. All right, so Jaxox is moving to the Paladin, so he's thinking this is Quest Rogue.
And looking at
But
this, we might be seeing some odd rogue here. We see odd cards already in the hand for Crackshot. He tosses them away. Will we see any evens in the hand? Is this going to be a different, just straight up tempo rogue, or is he going full odd?
I'm almost certain it's got to be odd. Yep, and yeah, this is going to be an odd rogue.
And you know what? Odd rogue,
Jackson.
you have to balance your life total. That's the important thing, but having that 2 damage weapon is key against something like an even paladin. And, of course, having Dire Maul on turn 1. I mean, let's not understate the importance of having Dire Maul turn 1 as an odd rogue. This is literally one of the best starts you can have as a rogue.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, now, unfortunately for Jaxos here, Crackshot's weapon, well, I mean, honestly, he may not even use a weapon yet. He may just take weapon to face here.
Yeah.
Or he probably may want to hold off one turn to get the deadly poison on it, but...
It's true, but even then, I mean, look at the amount of damage that he can start throwing right now. The fact that he can go double deckhand, cold blood one of them, or even cold blood the 1/2 if he wants to. He can defend his board with his weapon on top of it. The importance for Crackshot is to really put the pressure on, but control the board. Once you lose the board once, there's no refill for this rogue.
Nope. There is no way to draw cards. No way to do basically anything. So he's not going to toss the Knife Juggler out there for free.
Oh, the perfect top deck right now.
Wow. Everything is coming up Crackshot right now. This is
Boy, tough spot right here. You have to even think if you're Jaxox, you coin out the weapon here and try to take out this 4/4 because it can get out of hand real quickly. That's exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, he's got to take it out right now. If he doesn't, this is literally, I think, the one turn where he can actually answer it.
And let's look at the hand for Jaxox right now. He's got some weapon hate, which is very important. He's going to have the ability to maybe even go Knife Juggler into Acidic Swamp Ooze if he wants to. It gives him a good chance to swing the board the proper way that he needs it to.
Yep. It's like for a Crackshot here, he's just going to push 7, maybe even 9, if you would like. Looks like 9.
And that's exactly what it does, putting his opponent to 15 health. Meanwhile, Stephen Taft, of course, Mr. Jaxox, he's looking at what he can do right here. This Acidic Swamp Ooze seems to be all important, but a Call to Arms on 4, if it throws out a really well-timed Knife Juggler, you got to be sitting pretty right here. Of course, you go Knife Juggler into some weapon removal. You can remove whatever else is on the board and take the board back, which is what you need to do as a Paladin.
I'm gonna say I think it's either Call to Arms or it's Knife Juggler, Acidic Swamp Ooze, and you gotta hope and pray that it hits the South Sea deckhand. But it actually looks like he's going to Serenite Chain Gang this.
Not a bad play here.
No.
There's really nothing that your opponent can have for single target removal right here. He's even going to tank the face right here and remove one of these minions, putting himself at 11 health. Blink Fox now in the hand for his opponent. That's a nice draw right there. It's going to help you get some value.
Yeah.
It's basically card draw.
Yeah, it basically is the only draw that's in this deck is Blink Fox. And
Dark Conviction.
Dark Conviction. Wow. So yeah, he could actually use the Dark Conviction on the Dire Maul if he would like. Make it a 3/3, and he can clear out one of these. That's exactly what he's going to do.
I like what we see here, and of course makes really efficient use of his mana as well. He's going to leave up one of these 2/3s right here. So now some plays on Jaxox's side. He can sit there, throw Knife Juggler, throw some weapon hate, and even get another token out if he wants to. I think that's a solid play as well because it gives you the ability to leave your 2/3 alive and protect a Knife Juggler with a hopeful Call to Arms the next turn after that.
Well, that actually wouldn't protect the Knife Juggler because he could 3/3 the Blink Fox. But actually, if he tosses out the weapon removal, that would. But he's actually thinking. It looks like he's thinking about Blessing of Kings here.
Yeah, Blessing of Kings a possibility here. Jaxox holding onto that weapon removal just for what appears to be the hope that maybe if he sees that deadly poison come down, he can nullify just the value out of it. So he's got a 6/4 taunt, which is good to see, but a Vile Spine Slayer.
Wow.
Ew. The top decks have been fortunate for Crackshot, but just everything going his way right now.
Yep. And this is going to be 7 to the face, staring down lethal, and this
just bad news bears all around for Jaxox, man.
Yeah, it's like, well, at least now this turn he can Knife Juggler into Call to Arms, so he'll at least get 3 toggles off of it, if he would like.
And he's got to
Unfortunately
hope. He's
for
got to
him-
hope that one of those is a taunt, though.
But I don't think there are. And I don't think there are any taunts in the even paladin.
Not unless he's tech something in there that we don't know about.
Yeah, it's like I seriously don't think there's a taunt here. So a 2 or a 0 mana taunt at least. So he's thinking quality. He might be thinking just to drop like Knife Juggler or Monty Berserker and then kill whichever one is left over here.
Yeah, let's see what he's gonna do right now. And of course, if Knife Juggler goes to face, it's all over.
I mean, it's all over anyway.
Yeah, it's
'cause
all
with
over
no
anyway
taunt,
where he's at. Yeah.
Yeah. It's poison daggers, deadly poison, and
It's all over but the lethal.
yeah.
And there it goes. Removes everything down from there.
Yeah.
Leaves lethal on board with a weapon hit. And that'll do it.
Yep, that'll do it. So Crackshot takes 3 games really quickly, and it wasn't the lineup wasn't as aggressive as we thought it was, but he definitely brought the aggressive decks when needed. And I do like him bringing the Odd Rogue and then banning out the Paladin, which he did.
Yeah, well,
sorry,
he banned out the Rogue, which.
Yeah, the Rogue, yeah.
But at the same time, Odd Rogue, a lot of people think people aren't sure where it goes sometimes in the meta and how it fits into certain spots. It certainly has all of the answers. If it starts Dire Maul on 1, into Weapon on 2, into of course the Thugmaster on 3. You're going to win most games. It doesn't matter what you're up against on that spot. That was essentially it wasn't even essentially, it was literally the perfect sequence from 1 to 2 to 3 for that Odd Rogue. And if that's what your start's going to be, it does not matter the power level of the deck going against you. If it has a rough start, a little bit of a rough start on its own side, it's going to be tough to match up. And you can see some tentative plays from Jack Sox, especially with that even Paladin. He was holding back on that on his Knife Jugglers, hoping for a big swing turn. He was holding back on a lot of different maneuvers that he could have played right there. At some point, he had to make the big swing turn, and he just never made it. Or when he was thinking about it, it was too late then.
So, with Crackshot's win here, now the score between Thermic Whims and Really Nice Guys moves back in the favor of Really Nice Guys, 11-9, since there were no additional points picked up by Jack Sox. So, that means it's all going to come down to the final match in this series, which I'm trying to actually find the
It's
final
actually
match
going
in
to
this
be
series.
it's going to be a fantastic one. It's going to be one of the best players in THL, Brewski, against the Hall of Famer Andy Rogers. That is an outstanding matchup to decide who
that is
wins
hot.
week 1.
That is hot for that matchup. It's like one of those. Wish we could get it on stream, but yeah, that's going to be a hot one. So, I don't know. I don't know how this
right there. That is some realness right there between Brewski and Andy Rogers. I certainly will be keeping my face onto the Team Hearth League webpage to see what happens on that come Sunday. It will certainly be an entertaining game nonetheless.
Yep, absolutely. So, with that is so this was pretty nice. First back on the evening. First time we're back in the evening. Salty Saturday.
I like it.
Yeah,
It feels like home, my friend.
It does. It feels right. It feels like this is where it should be.
Absolutely.
But not only do we have the return of Salty Saturday to the evening, we also have the return of our Sunday streams.
Absolutely. So Sunday Showdown is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, where Bobson will be on the cast. We'll find out who else is going to be casting with him. And there's a pair of
I believe it's going
games.
to be Steffi, actually.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
Fantastic. There's going to be a pair of really good games there as well. We'll have the PhD posterior Doc McButt going up against Ryzen, who we just saw today in his victory over Josh Sampson. And there's another game down there, one against Mr. Zeroshio, and he's going up, let me read this name correctly, Force of Wheel is who that's going to be. These are both Sylvanas League matches, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Yeah, the first one is going to be myself against Zeroshio of Hero Power Rangers, also on the Hero Power podcast, if you listen to that. So we're going to be facing off in match 1. That's Team Black Lotus against Hero Power Rangers. And then the other matchup is going to be, sorry, I need to get to my scheduling. I believe it's Team, sorry. We'll get to that in a second. I believe it's Big Deck Bandits against. Actually, we talked about didn't we talk about Big Deck Bandits at the top? Maybe.
I'm not certain either way. I mean, the one thing that you want to tune on
Yeah.
Saturday just to see the other side of
Yes.
THL for the fact that it's going to be a last hero standing format.
Yes, absolutely. So, and that was Big That Bandits, and I think it's Dad Legend, possibly.
Yeah,
we'll see in a moment.
That seems correct to me. We'll find out after that.
Yeah,
of
that
course,
is correct.
The one thing I know about that is the fact that Doc McButt was my teammate for quite so many years on Team Swagoi in the Ragnaros League. Between Conquest and Last Hero Standing is much more his format. That's much more his style. He really seems that he fits in that league, and so he's looking to make some noise there in the 5 seed. And with Resin right there where he's going to be, we know he can play Conquest. Let's find out if he can play LHS from there.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So this is going to be. He's won. Diamond Butt's won Big Game Hunter a few times, I believe, in terms of like end of season awards.
Yep.
This time he's facing off against someone who I think is basically 100 PR as well, if I remember correctly. Let's see.
He is known for throwing some upsets every so often. So certainly tune in on Sunday to that matchup, of course, right here at twitch.tv/Team Hearth League. And that's going to do it for us for Salty Saturday. Mr. Force of Will, where can people find you on the internet and around THL?
So you mostly find me on the Team Hearth League Discord, Force of Will. You can find me on Twitter at Force of Will THL, and I do not stream yet. Maybe one day when I get better internet, I will be able to stream some. So, but that's
good.
where you can find me.
There you go. My name is Brasky. I'm a member of Team Swagway competitively as a caster and all that kind of side of things. You can find me playing for wonderful teams like Voted No Confidence and Team Tryhard in THL. Of course, you can find me at Brasky1142 on Twitter and on twitch.tv/Brasky1142, where I'm known to stream every so often. Of course, you can find more out about THL at twitch.tv/Team Hearth League, where you're watching this right now. Go to teamhearthleague.com, join our Discord, and find out all about the several different leagues that are on THL and where we go from there. So with that, from myself and from Force of Will from the THL studios inside of our apartment, I will see everyone and have a wonderful Saturday evening.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Are we down?